Simple lang ang buhay. Maraming batas ang nakasulat. Maraming batas na pwede kang protektahan. Ngunit sa sistema natin, sa tingin mo may liligtas ka ng batas. Isa ang terrorism sa problema ng gobyerno. Pero ano kaya ang kaya mong gawin kung ang pamilya mo isa na sa biktima nito?
The killing of a Canadian man in the Philippines is being described by the Prime Minister as cold-blooded murder. John Ridsdale was one of 4 tourists, including 2 Canadians.
Kumain na anak. Tumulong ka dito sa paghahanda sa lamesa.
Ayoko pa.
Anong ayoko pa? Aba, kumain na. Hoy,
Hayaan mo na yan. Malaki na yan. Kung magutom siya, kasalanan niya na yan.
Hoy, psst, kain lang ng kain. Lalamig yung pagkain, sayang ang pinaghirapan ko.
Hay nako, mga terorista talaga. Dami na nga problema sa Pilipinas, dadagdagan pa nila.
Nako, huwag niyo nang pansinin yan. Ang mahalaga, hindi tayo apektado dyan at magdasal na lang tayo sa Diyos na protektahan niya tayo.
Ano bang meron pa? Ano bang ibig sabihin ng mga terrorism na yan?
Like your mother said, huwag niyo intindihin yan. Ang intindihin niyo, ang inyong pag-aaral.
Pag-aaral, puro lang yung grades niya sa subject ng Ucspol. Kaya hindi alam yung ibig sabihin ng terrorism. Ay, mama, oh.
Para naman may alam yung utak mo. Ang terrorism kasi, it refers to the use of violence, intimidation by extremist group to achieve whatever goals they have. Lagi na siyang nangyayari dito sa Pinas, pero mas madalas siyang nangyayari sa southern part ng Mindanao. Gets mo ba?
Ay naku, kumain ka na nga lang. Ang dami mong alam.
Tama ka sa mga sinasabi mo anak. Pero ulitin ko, huwag niyo na isipin yan. Dahil hindi naman tayo apektado yan.
Hindi pa bababa ang kuya mo. Tawagin mo nga.
Hayaan mo yung batang yun. Napakabastos talaga nun. Ewan ko ba kung saan tayo nagkamali dyan.
Magandang gabi sa inyo lahat. Ako nga po pala si Andy Jesus galing sa Daily News. At narito po tayo kasama si Chief Reyes para makakuha ng isang impormasyon tungkol sa pagdadakip sa Atlas Street. Ano po ang masasabi niyo po ngayon?
Sabi ko lang, merong isang lalaki na nadakip bandang alas 6 ng umaga. Ang hinihinala po namin may kasalanan nito ay ang mga terorista. Gumagawa na po kami ng paraan para mahanap ang mga terorista. Yun lang po.
Salamat sa iyo, Chief Reyes. At dito na po ang magtatapos ang ating report.
Hey Ashley, good morning.
Hi Chief, good morning too.
I'm sorry to call this early and if I woken you up. I just wanna have an important assignment for you that has to be done ASAP.
Yes, no problem. What is it po?
We want you to get on the ground and talk to the counter-terrorist expert who is handling the recent terrorist kidnapping for ransom case that happened in Atlas Street.
Oh, narinig ko na yan recently po and I think it's a big case. How long do I have ba?
Hi, dito ata masira araw mo kaya I'm sorry na lang in advance. We will give you 2 weeks para tapusin tong task na ito. Yes. Alam kong it's a tight deadline, but we've arranged the schedules for your meetings with the expert and the family ourselves. So you don't have to worry about anything na. The meeting takes place rin sa waiting room ng office building natin. May kasama ka rin pala sa task na ito, so may katulong ka kahit papaano.
Okay, sige, I'll take the task po.
Sige na ka, I trust that you and your colleagues will be able to deliver. It's crucial that this report will be true and comprehensive now.
Yes po. Thank you po. Thank you.
Salamat.
Good afternoon, Miss Impresa. Malit na bagay. The expert said na malalate siya, but
Hi, I'm so sorry for my tardiness. The meeting took longer than I expected it would.
it's alright. We're more guilty of disturbing your precious life.
It's okay, we all have jobs to do, right?
Yes, we do, but we promised this wouldn't take much of your time. We're just here to ask you about the recent kidnapping that happened in Atlas Street, but we would just like to know more about terrorism here in the Philippines before we ask about the kidnapping case. And that is it. Take note of everything she says.
Is it okay if I take note about everything you're saying?
So, yeah, do whatever rocks your boat.
Okay, so first question. What is terrorism in its background?
So, to begin with, terrorism in the Philippines has been there for a long, long time since the 1960s, and it was carried out by different terrorist groups with different ideologies and motives. But from then on to present day, there are a lot of other terrorist groups that have emerged in the Philippines. An example of them is the NPA, or New People's Army. They have a lot of ideologies and motives that they would like to consider. And then there's also the Moro National Liberation Front, or the MNLF. They sought to create an independent Islamic state in Mindanao. And then there's also Abu Sayyaf, or ASG, who has a similar motive to MNLF, which ayun nga, is to seek an independent Islamic state, but for them particularly sa Sulu region. So there's a lot of other terrorist groups in the Philippines, but the ones that I've mentioned are the most prominent ones.
I see. How about the current issues with terrorism at this present day? And what are the issues, or what's the big problem about terrorism? Well, yes, they do a wide range of crimes, but what can you tell us as an expert?
So yung current issue kasi natin with terrorism is that they still exist sa ating bansa. So even though na hindi sila gumawa ng threats or attacks, their presence, their active presence in our country will always be an issue. Kasi we never know when, who, why, or where their next attack or threat might be. Kaya it's a safety concern and issue. And bukod naman din sa kidnapping murder case na to, yun naman din ibig sabihin na kapag silent sila, wala tayong problema sa terrorism. So, basically, ayun ang current issue natin sa terrorism is that they still exist in our country. And we all know that these terrorist groups will continue to commit a large scale of crimes, from bombings, assassination, kidnapping cases, illegal execution, ransom, and so much more just to pursue their goals. So, ayun nga, their active presence in our country will be our current issue.
Yeah, that makes sense. And then about this case, what can you tell us about this case?
This case is definitely heartbreaking, just like any other case. So, the victim's name is Jose Manalo. He has 3 kids and he's an office worker. And he got kidnapped around 6 to 7 in the morning while he was on the way to work. And what's much more of an attack to me is that they made a video of the father being held captive, which is so ridiculous. He stated his name and
Magsalita ka. Ako po si Jose Manalo.
basically said that he was okay while being held captive and a gun to his head. But he was unharmed and he told his family not to worry.
Bigyan nyo kami ng 10 milyon kapalit ng buhay ng taong ito. Bibigyan ko kayo ng 3 araw na palugi, bandang 3:00 ng umaga, sa may Atlas Street, Barangay Binangonan.
So, pinatay siya?
Oo, pinaril siya sa ulo eh. So that's how he died.
Well, my deepest condolences sa family. But considering how grave the terrorism is, what is the Philippines doing about it?
Okay, so for this case, we have had some success over the past few years, like the defeat of the ISIS-affiliated groups in Marawi in 2017. But, despite that success, it's still important for all of us to stay vigilant and aware to any other possible threats or attacks. But what I do know and what I can confidently say is that the Philippine government has been implementing counterterrorism moves to reduce the capabilities of these groups. And yes, we've had some success, and our government's efforts have resulted in the capture of neutralization or capturing the key leaders of each terrorist groups. And we've also been able to capture some active members of various extremist groups operating in the country. But nonetheless, terrorism is still a threat to the Philippines.
I'm sure terrorism is a complex and multifaceted issue that requires a comprehensive and holistic approach to address. I can only guess that there's no concrete solution but only potential strategies that the Philippine government and relevant stakeholders can consider.
Yes, that is correct, and I 100% agree with you. And such potential strategies include addressing root causes like underlying grievances like poverty, inequality, social exclusion, and political marginalization. And then there's an obvious potential strategy which we're already and have been doing, which is enhancing intelligence and law enforcement. We already know what that means, so I'm not going to expound. And then there's also combating radicalization and extremist propaganda, because they often like to use propaganda to spread their ideologies and recruit new members. And then other few strategies that I could think of is engaging in social dialogue and negotiation with them, but that seems impossible. And basic promotion of regional cooperation.
That's a lot of potential strategies, and you're confident that the Philippine government's doing all of this?
I can definitely and confidently say that the government is doing everything they can to prevent terrorism attacks.
Ikaw ba yung anak ng biktima?
Opo.